Okay, so we start the movie, and there's the location, Los Angeles, and the year is 2029. And there's this huge fucking robot tank thing shooting at this dude, and he's trying to run away, and unfortunately he gets blown up. And then with some magical floating text, we find out that the human race is engaged in a war with the machines. But the final battle won't be fought in the future, it'll be fought in our present. And then the title comes up. Okay, so we're still in Los Angeles, but now it's 1984, and there's a garbage truck dude fucking loving life, and then an electrical storm happens. And then there's a blinding flash of light, and there's Arnold Schwarzenegger completely naked, stands up, shows off his pecs, looks over to Los Angeles, he's like, yeah, suck my dick, LA. And then he goes and confronts a group of punks, one of them played by Bill Paxton. So he goes up to him, he's like, give me your clothes. They pull out knives, wrecks the shit out of two of them, and the third one's like, alright mate, you can have my clothes. So then we cut to another part of LA, another electrical storm, some dude falls onto the ground, and this dude is played by Michael Biehn, and he's like one of my favourite actors of all time. So Biehn goes up to the guy who's going to be me in about 20 years time and takes his pants. But then the police show up, so Michael Biehn legs it. So some cops running after him, and you know this cop's like, oh man, I wish I could finish my donut before I gave chase, I need the fucking energy. But the cop ends up losing Michael Biehn. Oh no he hasn't, he jumps out, grabs the gun, and he's like, what day is it? The date. And the cop's like, alright mate, whatever, it's May 12th, Thursday. And Michael Bihn's like, yeah, what year? But then more cops turn up, so Michael Biehn breaks into a store. So he's in there, steals a trench coat, steals a pair of sneakers, climbs out the fire escape, goes into a squad car, steals a shotgun, and then goes over to a phone booth to check the phone book to find the name Sarah Connor. And then we cut to a woman on a scooter, and she's going to work, and she works at a burger joint. Yeah, aim high, love. And we find out on her time card, her name's Sarah Connor. So we cut back to Arnie, he steals a car, and then he goes to a gun shop. So Arnie's picking out a load of guns, and then when the clerk's got his back turned, loads the shotgun, and shoots that motherfucker. Pulls up at a phone booth, pulls the fat dude out so he can check the phone book, and he looks for the name Sarah Connor. So there's a few Sarah Connors in the book, so he goes to the first one, and blows her fucking face off. Back with Michael Biehn, he's broken into a car, he's hotwired it so he can listen to the radio, and then he falls asleep, and he has a dream about where he comes from. And he's clearly a soldier in the human resistance fighting the machines, blows up one of those fucking tanks, and then starts driving a truck around while another dude's shooting at one of the flying ones. But the flying hunter killer hits the truck, it topples over, and he's burning alive, and then he wakes up. So we cut to the police station, and there's Lieutenant Tracker, and another police officer played by fucking Lance Henriksen. Yes, this movie rocks! And they're talking about two girls that have been killed, and both of their names happen to be Sarah Connor. So we cut back with our Sarah Connor, along with her flatmate Ginger, and they're getting ready for a night out on the town, but it turns out Sarah's boyfriend's fobbing her off. So Ginger waits for her boyfriend. Sarah's like, oh, I'm gonna go to the fucking movies, fuck this shit. But she's being followed by Michael Biehn. Back at the police station, Trackler and Lance Henriksen are trying to get into contact with our Sarah Connor, but Ginger's getting a good deep dicking to give a fuck about the phone call. Back with our Sarah, she's getting a bite to eat, but then there's a news report on the TV, and she finds out that the other two Sarah Connors are dead. So she checks the phone book, and she finds out that the first two Sarah Connors were the first two in the phone book, and she's number 3. So she leaves the restaurant, and she's being followed by Michael Biehn, so she ducks into a nightclub, and she tries calling the police, but the police are a little bit busy right now. Meanwhile, Big Arnie arrives at the apartment. So Ginger's like, I'm going to the kitchen and make a sandwich, and Arnie pretty much fucking kills her boyfriend. And then Arnie sees Ginger, shoots her, thinking it's Sarah, and then just keeps shooting her, and then the answering machine goes off. And who's calling? It's Sarah, asking for Ginger and Matt to pick her up. So Arnie now knows where she is. So he starts checking the apartment, and he finds some photo ID, so he now knows what Sarah looks like. So then Sarah does manage to get through to the police, and they're like, yeah, we're going to send a squad car after you. But then, dun, Arnie arrives. So she's looking around, and then she sees Michael Biehn. She's like, oh shit. And then Arnie finds her, goes up to her, pulls out a handgun, aiming right at her, and then Michael Biehn whips out the shotgun and starts shooting Arnie. Just keeps shooting him until he falls down. Everyone's in a panic, everyone's trying to run out of there. Then Arnie sits up like, motherfucker, what did you just do? And then starts opening fire on everything and everyone in the fucking club. So Michael Biehn dives for cover, then Arnie looks over, he sees Sarah Connor trying to run away, he shoots the woman behind Sarah, so Sarah's pinned onto the floor, goes over to her, he's about to shoot her, and Michael Biehn jumps out and shoots Arnie out of a fucking window. So Michael Biehn grabs Sarah, they're getting out of there, but Arnie gets up and he starts giving chase. So Michael Biehn shoots this car, it explodes, he gets into his car with Sarah, he's about to drive away, and Arnie just jumps through the fucking fire, punches his hand through the windshield, grabs Sarah, Michael Biehn backs up into another car, Arnie flies off, and then they start driving away. This cop sees what happens, he's radioing in the situation, then Arnie just gets up, knocks that motherfucker out, and steals his car. So as they're getting away, Michael Biehn reveals his name is Reese and he's been assigned to protect her. And he reveals to Sarah that Big Arnie is a Terminator, a cyborg sent back back to kill her. So after a chase with the police, they're able to escape, and then they hide in an underground parking lot. They find a new car, they break in, and then Reese reveals the situation about what's happening about human races in a fight with the machines in the future. And Sarah is the key to it because her unborn son is the leader of the human resistance. The Terminator arrives at the parking lot though, and just as they're about to escape, he opens fire. So we got a chase with shooting guns everywhere. So Reese is leaning out of the car, he shoots the Terminator in the face, Sarah hits the brakes, and the Terminator just drives into a fucking wall. But before Sarah and Reese can get away, the police turn up and Reese gets arrested. And when a cop goes over to the other car, the Terminator is gone. So where did the Terminator go? He's gone to his hideout because he needs to repair his fucked up arm and his fucked up eye. Meanwhile, Reese is being interviewed by this psychiatrist named Dr. Silberman, and Reese is telling him about what's happened, about the future war with the machines and everything. This dude thinks he's fucking nuts. So after the interview, Silberman leaves and the Terminator arrives. Goes up to the cop at the reception's desk and he's like, yeah, I'm here to see Sarah Connor. And the cop's like, nope, you can't see her. So Arnie's like, yeah, I'll be back. So he leaves and it comes back with a fucking car. So he just pimps into the fucking station and starts slaughtering all the cops. They're getting wrecked, man. And meanwhile, Reese is able to escape. He's able to find Sarah before the Terminator does, and they're able to get out of there. So after they've escaped, they're hiding away, and Reese tells her about the future. So we see what a typical day in the life of Reese is like. Blow up some HKs, go back home. It's a shit pit. And while he's resting up, he pulls out a photo of Sarah Connor. But then some dogs start barking. Reese looks over and he's like, holy shit, a Terminator has infiltrated the base and it starts slaughtering everyone. Reese is like, I'ma save the day! But there's an explosion behind him, it knocks him off his feet, and the Terminator's just continuing on, and Reese looks up and his photo of Sarah's burning in the fire. And then Sarah wakes up. So we cut back to the Terminator. He's at his little hideout and he's checking the address book he picked up from Sarah's apartment, and he finds out where Sarah's mum lives. Meanwhile, Sarah and Reese have made it to a little motel where they're going to hide out. So Reese goes out for supplies. Sarah calls her mum and she's like, hey mum, here's the phone number of the location I'm staying at. But it's not her mum, it's the Terminator. So then the Terminator phones up the motel and he's like, give me your address there. Reese comes back with his supplies and they're gonna make pipe bombs. And then after making the pipe bombs, Reese is like, I fucking love you, Sarah. And then they fuck. So they gotten up, they gotten dressed, and they're about to make their move, but then they can hear a dog barking outside. But then the Terminator breaks in and he opens fire, but they're not there. So Reese steals this dude's truck, the Terminator comes out, they run the Terminator over, they're like, yeah, suck my dick, Terminator, but he gets back up and he gets on his motorcycle to give chase. Reese and Sarah trade places, so she's at the wheel and he can throw the pipe bombs. He keeps throwing them, they're either landing too far or too short, he can't get the Terminator, and then the Terminator shoots him, holy fuck, he's injured. And the Terminator's getting nearer and nearer, so Sarah turns into him, it fucking knocks him off the motorcycle, but then the truck flips over and they're both fucked. And then as the Terminator's getting up, he gets hit by a fucking 18-wheeler! So the truck driver's like, oh fuck, says to his partner to stay there. He gets out to have a look, and then the Terminator just grabs him and kills him. He gets into the cab, and he just looks at the other dude, and he's like, get out. So the Terminator starts the truck, and Sarah looks up, and she's like, holy shit, come on Reese, we gotta get out of here. Pulls him out of the pickup truck just in time as the Terminator smashes into it, and he starts chasing after them. So as they're running away, Reese collapses, and he's like, don't stop, run, run! Pulls out a pipe bomb, sticks it in the back of the tanker while Sarah's trying to run away from this thing, and then it explodes. So the truck's a flaming wreck, and the Terminator gets out, and he's walking around, and then he collapses, and it's all over. Sarah and Reese find each other, and they embrace, and they're like, we did it, we got it. No, they didn't, because it's there, and it hasn't got any flesh. So they break into this factory, the Terminator's hot on their trails, they barricade the door, the Terminator's slamming against it, and Reese activates all these machines for cover. But then he collapses, and he's like to Sarah, no, leave me here, but she looks up, the Terminator's made a hole, it's trying to grab the lock. She pulls Reese up onto his feet to get out of there, and then the Terminator comes in. So as Sarah and Reese are trying to sneak around, she accidentally hits something, it activates a machine, the Terminator looks over, starts heading over towards there, and then he finds them. So they start backing up some stairs, and the Terminator's following, and at one point Reese is like, Sarah, get out of here. He's like, come on, motherfucker. Starts attacking the Terminator with a pipe, like smack, 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 smack. But then he gets tired, Terminator pimp smacks him. Reese pulls out his last bomb, lights it, sticks it in the Terminator, he gets pushed down the stairs, he topples down, and then the Terminator blows up. We see Sarah, she's on the floor, she's got a chunk of the Terminator in her leg, and she pulls it out. So she crawls over to Reese and turns him over, but he's dead. And the Terminator's not finished, it tries and grabs her and it starts giving chase. She's crawling away. It's coming after her. She climbs into this hydraulic press and it's right behind her, and they're crawling and she gets out, slams the gate down. The Terminator bursts its hand through, tries to grab her to strangle her. She sees the control box. She reaches for it. She goes, "You're terminated, fucker." Activates it and it crushes the Terminator and it is destroyed. And then we could hear sirens. Sarah's loaded into the back of an ambulance while Reese is zipped up into a body bag. And then it's some time later and Sarah's recording some tapes for her son John to listen to when he's older. She stops at a gas station and this little Mexican kid takes her photo and she buys it, and it's the photo Reese has in the future, and that was pretty much the Terminator.
So better than mortal man deserves.